Hey guys, so this video, just a quick video basically for reminiscing purposes for me. It's about the first time I drove to Greece from the UK. I started in Northampton. It was in the winter, it was the end of December when I started out. So I don't remember the exact day, but we left at around, when I say we, I mean this car and me. We left from Northampton in the afternoon. It wasn't nothing crazy, I didn't have a crazy early day. I think it was like 1 in the afternoon. Drove down to Calais, got on the channel. I had some discount tickets for the Channel Tunnel, so I only paid £120 return using the tunnel. I would strongly recommend using the tunnel if you can at all times. It is by far the best way to cross the channel. No reason to use a ferry, absolutely none. Previously the best way used to be hovercraft. That was fastest and the cheapest, but for whatever reason, well, obviously they weren't making enough money, they stopped. They should have increased their prices on hovercraft. Anyway, I digress. So got into Calais. I remember then filling up with gas then in Calais. Something to eat. I don't remember exactly what. Got some drinks on the way down and then set off. Pretty uneventful trip down to the south of France, as it usually is. France is a pretty boring country to drive through. Oh, the full beams on them. Right. So what else? Yeah, so I started off a bit careful with the speed, but as it got later and darker, I picked up the pace. So in the end, we ended up doing Calais to Lyon in 5 hours, almost 5 hours exactly. Actually, when we got into Lyon, we went on the ring road there, if I remember. There was quite a bit of traffic there, if I remember correctly now. And it was dark also. Yeah, basically there was a bit of traffic there. And then on from Lyon, we went to Grenoble. Because at the time I believe the Mont Blanc tunnel was closed because of the fire. So we went, there was a tunnel below the Mont Blanc tunnel that went through the Alps, so we went through there. But before we got there, I stopped in Grenoble for the night. Services on the auto route outside of Grenoble. But what to say about that? I was sleeping in the car, put the old back seats down, and there was enough room for me to lay out flat between the back seats and the boot. But the problem was the trunk was getting extremely cold. My feet were freezing basically. So after an hour or two I had to abort that, and then I ended up sleeping in the passenger seat and then switching the engine on every now and again just to get some heat back into the car. It was pretty cold. Like I said, it was late December and I was in the Alps, so obviously it was a bit cold, you know. Also, I was having second thoughts big time when I was in Grenoble at those services, wondering what exactly was I doing, because it had been a fair old trek down to where I was in Grenoble, but still I was absolutely nowhere near my destination, i.e. Eastern Greece, northeast Greece. I really was thinking, you've bitten off more than you can chew here. What are you doing? So I replied, I don't know. And then I shorter route on the Alps. Went through this tunnel. And then when I got into Italy, I found I went into a town and I started trying to make arrangements with my travel agent that had booked the ferry tickets from Italy to Greece to see if they could change the tickets from Bari to Ancona, because Bari just looked like a really, really long way away from northern Italy at the time. I thought it's not possible, it's too far. So after going backwards and forth, in the end, not possible to go through Ancona. So then I just had to start making my way down to Bari then, south of Italy. Yeah, so I must have been lost, I must have lost an hour there. Well, first of all, I needed to get euros in this town, and then I needed to, I was going back and forth on the phone, so I wasn't driving either while I was trying to sort out this ferry situation. But when all that went south, I had to, get on with it then and get down to Bari for 6:30 that evening. And I was leaving there, it must have been around 10 o'clock when I was leaving whatever this town was in northern Italy. I don't exactly remember the name of it. I think it began with R, if I remember. Anyway, so just went down through Italy, like auto routes all the way. You don't see the country at all. I remember driving past Ancona and remember saying to myself, Jesus, I wish this was where I was getting on the ferry. Because this would be nice. But anyway, I wasn't, and I was going on to Bari. So south of Ancona, then it started to get dark and it started to rain, and there was quite a lot of traffic on the road, and I was in a rush. So it was a really bit of a stress getting, the last, I suppose, hour and a half going down to Bari. And then, with about 30 minutes to go, start stressing, am I going to make it? Am I going to miss this ferry? Got down to Bari, getting off the autostrada. There was tolls to pay. I think it was about €35 to go from north of Italy to the south of Italy. It's more expensive now. And I remember I pulled into the toll booth and I thought I'd pulled into a tag one only, electronic only. So as I was reversing out of there, I rubbed the wall and I rubbed the concrete wall out between the lanes. And as I did that, the person in the booth said, no, it's okay, come, and I paid with cash there, or card if I remember, I don't remember. Anyway, there was that little episode, and then I just made it for the ferry. I'd been travelling for 8 hours, and I got there at about 6 o'clock, and the ferry was leaving at 6:20, 6:30. I just got there in time. And then got on the boat, got some beers, got a couple of beers, got some water, I think, maybe get a sandwich, found an airline seat. Not a problem in the winter, the boats are completely empty. They are the exact opposite of the summer when they're completely rammed. Got in the airline seat, settled down for the night, passed out. Don't remember anything. Woke up coming into port in Igoumenitsa. It's almost exactly 12 hours, Bari, Igoumenitsa. So got off the ferry, pitch black, it was still dark, 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning. And just driving to Thessaloniki from there. So at the time there was no motorway between Igoumenitsa and Thessaloniki. It was all A roads. getting out, coming out of Igoumenitsa, said put up with a tank and put a tank to fill the car up. I deliberately didn't put any minimum amount of gas in Italy because I knew how much cheaper the petrol was in Greece. Basically, it was about half the price at the time, half the price of Italy, and now Greece has got the second, third most expensive petrol in the world. Anyway, so I filled up the BP, and I didn't turn the ignition off completely. The key was at that first stage, the first initial click. So the guy filled it up, put the cap back on. I went to start the engine, and the needle didn't move. So I was saying to the guy, "What the fuck?" Well, I didn't say what the fuck. I said, "Look, there's no petrol in the car. What happened?" I thought they might be running a robbery. He was an old guy, but anyway, I switched it off again, switched it back on, and sure enough, it's full tank of gas. I was a bit, my fault completely. I apologise to that guy. So driving out of Igoumenitsa then, and the first thing you do is you drive up a massive mountain. Well, it was massive for me, coming from Britain. It is quite a big mountain, to be fair, and it was cold and it was icy, and I swear I nearly crashed the car just as I got to the top of this mountain. Like one of the last air bits, the car just wanted to go straight on, and that road was so busy with trucks, cars. Considering how small the road was, considering it was going up the side of the mountain, considering what time of day it was, that road was so busy. So that was it then. It was just A roads, just following the signs of Thessaloniki. If I could just rewind a bit, with regards to the navigation, before I left, I sort of traced my route out on the map, and then I just written on a piece of paper all the main towns that were along that route, from Northampton to Thessaloniki. And then as I was driving along the autostrada, I would just go for the next town. So, you're just moving down the list. As soon as the lowest town starts to appear on the roadside, you head for that. And obviously you put a couple of backups there just in case the town you show is not on the roadside. So basically that got me all the way to Thessaloniki, no problem. Anyway, so back to driving from one side of Greece to the other. That took 6.5 hours, but you know what? I actually saw the country. I actually saw Greece. I drove through France. Okay, granted it was late afternoon, and I drove through Italy a full day. I didn't see anything of Italy on the autostrada. Absolutely zero. I couldn't tell you a single thing about Italy. Nothing. Never went through any towns, never saw anyone except people on the motorway. But in Greece, A roads, you went through all the villages, you saw the country. Much better, much better. So there was a couple of mountain passes on the way. For me, the first one was the big one. Just because it was so dark and so cold and so icy and so busy and so strange. Then we went over Cantana Pass then. After Ancona, and then there was another one going into Veria. And the road going into Veria, I remember getting to the top of that mountain before going into Veria, and there was like a little truck stop and cafes and tavernas right on top of that mountain, and that was buzzing. It was really busy. It was the main road to western Greece from eastern Greece. that was the main road, this mountain pass. But if you go there now, ghost town, nothing, empty. It's a bit sad, really. It is sad, it's not sad, it is sad. And then what else? Yeah, then coming into Thessaloniki, that, from the navigation point of view, that was the most difficult part, going from A roads and then coming into the city. I didn't have a street map of Thessaloniki, so I was just winging it completely. And then when I was getting close to the centre, the roads just went tiny narrow. Narrowest roads I've ever driven on my life, and that was the most difficult part, finding parking in Thessaloniki, because the roads were so tight and because parking was non-existent. But I tell you what, the whole trip, that was you know, it's a different feeling, completely different feeling from, you know, you drive the whole thing, you see everything from the ground, from one place to the other. You know, it's a gradual thing. You can see the countries changing, the roads changing, the geography changing, the weather changing, until you get to your destination. You know, it really feels like you've travelled, you know, as opposed to getting in a plane and then just, you know, it's just, you step in a room in one country, step out of a room in another country. It's you know, the experience of travelling it's just not there, you know. But having said that, would I do it again? Yeah, for sure I would do it again. I got no problem. But would I prefer to go with a plane? Yeah, I've done it a couple of times now. Italy, Greece, UK. I've gone around France. I've gone around Italy. I've gone around Greece, that area, a few times. So there's nothing really left for me to experience, I think. Yeah, so if I'm going to Britain, it's because I'm going to go to Britain, and if I want to go to Italy, I'll go to Italy. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was it. I'll do the trip back in another video. So that's